When somebody talks about sneaker culture, a lot can come to mind. For some, it might be Yeezys, arguably the biggest celebrity collaboration in fashion of all time. For others, it might be statement pieces like Nike's Ben & Jerry's collab or their collab with the Grateful Dead. Every year there's that one piece that takes the scene by storm, like the Jordan 1 Mochas or the Pandas or the Travis Scott Jordan 1s. But the shoe that completely shook up 2023's fashion landscape didn't come from Nike or Adidas or New Balance. It didn't even really come from a traditional shoe brand at all. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last 6 months, you've definitely seen and have opinions on MSCHF's Big Red boots. They're the statement piece to end all statement pieces. They're like if someone took everything about the Red Octobers, one of the most talked about sneakers of all times, and hit them with the Looney Tunes hammer. Based on Astro Boy's rocket shoes, these things are giant. And MSCHF hasn't taken pieces of Astro Boy's look and translated that into the traditional language of a boot. They've literally created a giant heavy rubber boot with no laces and no breathability. So even if they aren't the most practical shoe you'll wear, they're certainly the most unique thing that's happening in the space. MSCHF isn't new to the sneaker industry. You might remember them from their infamous Satan shoe collab with Lil Nas X that had real human blood in the sole, or their Jimmy Fallon skate shoe collab where the layers of the shoe peeled off as you wore them to resemble a jawbreaker, or even their previous shoe that looked like an orthopedic boot. And beyond sneakers, they're constantly putting out releases that push boundaries, like this car that everybody could buy a key to and share, or this dating sim game that does your taxes, or this big Fruit Loop. They're constantly changing the game and reinventing what you'd expect from some marketing heavy e-commerce site, but at the end of the day, it's not the products that make the splash, it's the marketing. MSCHF is a self-described art collective out of Brooklyn, but at its core, it's a marketing powerhouse. They've figured out how to make a splash on the internet and turn it into a monetized product, and the apex of all of this is the Big Red boot. Even before it launched, it was inescapable for weeks. Every celebrity was wearing it, every TikTok you'd see was someone getting stuck in the boot, and because of the uniqueness of the shoe, you could immediately tell that it was the boot. So when they finally launched, MSCHF sold out of an unannounced amount of the boots in seconds. But lucky for me, as someone who can't control their spending and needs a shiny new thing every once in a while, I was able to get an order. So these are the Big Red boots. I got them when they first went on sale. I didn't pay any resale or anything. So let's talk about what you actually get. These are them. These are the boot. They're like 4.5 pounds each. They're super heavy. I'm a size 12. I think the real problem with them is how tall they are, so they cut off all of the circulation on my leg. But let's be real, who's actually buying these to wear them around? These are just gonna sit in my office and I'm gonna look at them and be like, hey, remember when I made that video, right? So as you can see, they really cut off all of the circulation on my leg, but they look ridiculous. They're exactly what you expect out of the Big Red boot. They do this weird thing where when you bend your leg, it like contracts in on itself. I haven't worn these out. I don't think I'm ever going to wear them out, but they're big and they're red and they're $350. And they actually are kind of impossible to take off. So these are the Big Red boots. So even if they're pretty unwearable and even if they're $350, they still shut down fashion. I don't see a world where anything can top this for the next year at least. Because of the reputation MSCHF has built for itself, it doesn't have to adhere to what's going to make the most money and what's going to appeal to the widest audience. They just have to make something that's going to start a conversation. And sure, companies like Nike have made conversation pieces that have actual applications like their self-lacing shoes, but nobody's gonna walk up to you on the street and talk your ears off about your little robot shoes. The Big Red boots turn heads, and in a world where our attention spans have been destroyed, it's a miracle that everybody focused on some silly shoes for as long as we did. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing if you liked the video, and let me know down in the comments if you're pro or anti Big Red boot. I'll see you in the next video.